Yeah. All right.
Yes.
So I'm going to talk a lot about artificial intelligence, and hopefully I'm going to hit the points from that perspective in terms of skills, and in terms of what's going on with this technology from Intel's perspective. And if you guys, and I just froze. It always happens. If you guys don't know a lot about Intel, we are old, I guess we're now an old Silicon Valley company. We've been around for more than 50 years. We do have roots to the East Coast with our founders, Fairchild Semiconductors, and all that whole gang. And part of our technology is really inside of what we use already, right? Whether it's a laptop, whether it's a cloud, whether it's a chip that's in a cell tower, whether it's a storage device, right? So our technology is kind of underneath everything, and we have customers from Microsoft to Amazon to the telecoms, right? So we kind of see the whole ecosystem. And our CEO earlier this year kind of saw, we have this digital divide that's going on. This is pre-pandemic. I think with post-pandemic, it's fair to say that it's expanded. And we kind of take our role there seriously in terms of how can we partner, how can we expand access to these skills, especially artificial intelligence skills. And so we have a goal of reaching by 2030, 30 countries, 30,000 institutions, and worldwide. And happy to say we're already in 11 countries, from Israel to Singapore, South Korea, Poland, UK, and then of course the US. And happy to talk to you guys about this program. So let me talk a little bit about AI in terms of what it is. The way to think about it is it's a collection of technologies, different technologies. The one technology that you probably are familiar with that you're already using is it's called computer vision, which basically any type of picture that your brain does in terms of analyzing an image, the computer is getting really, and the algorithms are getting really good at that. So if you use Facebook or Instagram and you take a picture and then the tag comes up and then recognizes the person, that's artificial intelligence in the background. If you get in the car and it's got automatic braking where it can recognize how far you are from a car, or if your car is drifting, that's a form of artificial intelligence, and that is computer vision. So you probably have a camera mounted on your car. It can tell images. You can buy very inexpensive kits now, a camera kit that any developer can use to tell distances, shapes, and then for people, it can tell your height, your gender, whether you're interested or not interested in something, and advertisers are starting to use that technology for a lot. Obviously, when we start talking about this, there's a ethical implication in terms of this technology, which I'll talk about, which is very different from, I think, anything that we've worked on or that I worked on in my career in terms of skills. I think you all are very familiar with in terms of the automation risk, right, that have been flagged, different reports, any World Economic Forum, pick up a report, you talk about the automation trend that are going on, the displacements that are going on. And the other side of it is, as any technology transitions, is you have this emergence of new skills, right? So, and we've seen that over the years with technology. And so there is a demand gap already, a supply demand gap already of about 35%. A lot of other countries are being very aggressive with addressing this workforce, with funding national structures and just kind of realigning workforce, including K-12 skill sets around artificial intelligence. The other issue, right, and I talked about this, is what we want, and one of the reasons we're doing this program is we want as many people learning the technology, not only using it, but developing it. Because when you have very few people kind of developing the technology, there's a tendency of creating biases in that technology. And so we want to be able to offer that opportunity for as many people as we can. And the other thing about AI is the human-machine partnership, what we call, which is really it's an augmented technology that folks are going to have available for to do their job better. So think about like a teacher who's on Zoom and giving a lecture, and the technology is able to tell them, hey, you know, in this section, your students were super interested. In this section, not so much, right? So you kind of get feedback on how well your lesson plan went, where kids were lost, kind of got lost, and where they were interested. And there's just going to be a number of examples like that come out of this technology. With that is there are ethical frameworks that anybody that's developing this technology needs to learn. There's transparency around what the algorithm's doing. We've seen a lot of examples of algorithms that have biases. And a lot of it has to do with the data set that was used to train those algorithms. So how do you clean that up right before you develop an algorithm? Explainability and fairness. And the last thing is around skills is what we call kind of fusion skills, right? So your ability to go from technical to almost human interaction and how this is going to affect people. Right, it's definitely one of the things that we want to make sure that we touched on. So in terms of our programs and going back to the skills, there's a lot of misinformation about what AI is, or just not lack of understanding. Right, so we want the program that we did with Maricopa. We want to reach the non-technical audience. We want to equip the workforce with skill sets and a mindset. And the mindset is a lot of trial and error, a lot of the programs that you guys already have around, doing project-based learning, because those are super important skills. The collaboration, our students working with other folks, communicating their ideas, all the things that you all heard before. Those are going to become even more important. We want to democratize the access to AI tools. And then we want the students at the end of this learning journey to pick a project in your community, something that you're interested in, and as a solution, right? And this gives them a couple of things. One is you practice what you're actually learning, and two is from an employer perspective, right? It gives them an opportunity to showcase what they've done. And so from a skills perspective, right, the technical skills, statistical data, I can't say it this morning, computer vision skills, natural language processing is kind of like the other technology that's now very much out in the world. And then the social skills that I talked about, and then the system thinking, right? Once you start doing a social program, you start to have to think about what is my community? What is going to be the impact of what I'm building here? And then the mindset, right? It's going to be very disruptive for all of us are in the workplace, regardless of what you do, as this technology comes in, right? So you have to kind of be flexible, move up where you're adding value, because it is going to become very evident. And being resilient, the leadership that I talked about, team building, collaboration, all those skills are super, super important. And then there's obviously some tools, right, that go along with that. And when we started talking with Maricopa, and I'm sure a lot of you have the same question, and one of the previous speakers was talking about this, is what does the labor market look like? And I think your previous speaker was spot on in terms of look at the skills, right? Don't look at the titles of this technology. Look at the skill sets that this technology is demanding, right? Some of the stuff that I talked about, statistical data, Python programming, all those things. And when we started working in Maricopa Community College, is they used burning glass, and then all of a sudden we started getting a lot of hits on the job market because we started using the skill set and not the job titles. Anyway, that was my first rodeo with looking at labor data, and it was very interesting to go through that. But the things that stood out here, and one thing I want to encourage you guys to think about is this technology is not in IT only, right? It's everywhere. It's in healthcare. Healthcare is a big, it's going to be one of the first big industries, retail, manufacturing, and going back to healthcare, again, imaging, anything that has an image, radiologist, someone that's doing MRIs, right? This technology is going to be able to assist the person that's analyzing the image. So healthcare is definitely a high need area. And so we just launched this program with Maricopa. As you guys know, it's a very large school district, 200,000 students. We have it at 2 campuses. Our curriculum, that we work with them, and as part of our partnership, they developed 5 AI courses. And they combined it with their math, computer science, and they were able to do an associate's degree path. We're currently talking to University of Arizona and Arizona State University to do the pathway that you guys laid out earlier, as well as K-12 in terms of a dual enrollment program. So I love how you're designing with that up front. I think that's going to be super powerful. Probably a little bit more difficult at the beginning, but it's going to be, really, really powerful if you can build that network. We have existing faculty that's teaching the classes, and Maricopa has been a great partner for us. We've met with, including some of the folks here on the call about our program. At Pennsylvania, we've talked to a couple community colleges, California, a couple community colleges, Oregon, Texas, New Mexico. So lots of interest for this program, and happy to talk to anyone here. And this is, I don't need to repeat this. You guys know this from why are we targeting community colleges, the diversity that you have of students, the workers that are going to come to your institutions looking to reskill in terms of the access that you provide, affordability. And then believe it or you're very innovative in terms of you're the fastest system that we have in the U.S. For responding for these types of changes, right? K-12 is, as you guys know, kind of moves at its own pace. Universities are very, very slow, right, around jumping on this. So it's really, I think you guys, community colleges, are going to play a critical role, right, in retraining our workforce, which is one of the big reasons why we want to work with you, because of all these great capabilities that you have. And then from a system perspective, from community colleges with Maricopa and some of the other countries that we worked, I want to kind of leave these thoughts for you guys. Planning for this technology, putting it as part of your growth in terms of what you want to do, I think it's critical. This is a very cross-discipline technology, and a lot of you have different industry clusters that you interact with. You're going to find that this technology will cross those different industry sectors. Getting a senior administrator as a champion has been really, really good, because that helps with the speed in terms of how quickly we move. And then building those industry and community partners, which is what you guys are doing. I think that's fantastic, and that is going to be super, super helpful. So anyways, I'll leave my information. Anyone's interested, please let me know. And with that, I'll turn it over to you guys, unless there's any burning questions. Sakir and Aaron, I'm not sure how you want to handle this, but.
All right, thank you so much, Carlos, for your excellent presentation and your, especially the insights that AI is not just technology, right? Like technology sector goes across all other sectors in our um, um, across our economy. So, are there any questions specifically for Carlos? I think we have probably time for one or two questions, if there are any. Um, if you do have a question, please unmute yourself and you can ask Carlos.
How is the enrollment on the programs that you shared? I'm sure it's on a incremental increase or a bell curve. What have you guys seen?
Yeah, so the first set of classes, we have about 25 students in the first set of classes. And we're seeing students that are, we have master students, PhDs, we have a few Intel folks that are taking the classes, and then we have your traditional, community college student that's going through into university. So it's been a splattering of different folks that are interested in this technology, which is what we expected.
That sounds exciting.
Yeah.
And I'm sure like everybody's thinking about right here in this chat room, who's teaching the classes? How did you synthesize that recruiting process? I mean, it's just really groundbreaking stuff you're doing. It's interesting, very interesting.
Yeah, we work with Maricopa. They identified instructors, so we have existing instructors. Didn't have to bring anybody from the outside, and that's how we designed the curriculum too, because we don't want to have PhD expert come in and teach this stuff. And so that's part of the process that we go through as we talk to the different systems. Is who are your instructors? Here's their profile, and the hardest thing has been really it's setting up the programs. I'm sure, right, you guys all know how hard that is within your institutions, and just kind of marketing it to students so that they know it's there, right? That's been kind of the hardest things to execute on.
Thank you, Carlos, and thank you for that great question. I just wanted to thank Gary Altman, who's the Executive Director of the State Employment Training Commission here in New Jersey, for making the connection with us and Carlos. So thank you, Gary. And we are committed to working with Gary and the team at the governor's office to see what we can do to bring this program and this innovation to New Jersey. So we'll have further conversations with you, Carlos, I'm sure, as we progress in this work, and we'll be including this collaborative and our colleges in those discussions. So Carlos, thank you for the very fine presentation. Thank you for getting up early and getting into the office in Arizona. Look forward to further collaboration with you. So thank you.
So Aaron, this is John Larson. I wonder if you can provide us again with Carlos's contact information. We're busy developing our own cyber and AI programs here, and we'd love to partner with you. So we've got a group of very bright folks that used to work at Bell Labs, have retired and have come working for us now. And so we start out with some folks who really have a good understanding of this kind of technology. So, and we have a partnership with NJIT, and they have a very strong cyber and AI commitment. So that link, I think, is a useful one for any students coming into the program. So anyway, we'd love to talk. Thank you.
That's great. President Larson, thank you. And we'll be in touch and connect you to Carlos. There really is an opportunity to connect those dots and talk about our innovation history of New Jersey. It all goes through Bell Labs in many ways. So it's exciting to see some of the Bell Labs folks ending up at Ocean County College. That's exciting. So we'll look forward to many, many further discussions to make this happen here in New Jersey. Carlos, thank you again.